Another episode of the Better Learning Podcast. We have a fun one today. I am really excited, not only because of the guest, but also the movie. But we're going to welcome back Emily Wright and Laura Smyles. They joined us on the Better Learning Podcast last year, and we had a lot of fun. So I'm super excited about this one. Emily, how's it going?
Going well. I'm excited to talk about this. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and Laura, good to see you.
Good to see you. Yeah, thanks for having us. We're excited.
All right, so we're talking the movie Accepted, and we even talked about there's two different movies Accepted. One is clearly much funnier than the other. So we're talking about the funny one from 2006.
Yes.
With Justin Long and Jonah Hill and Blake Lively. Oh,
Lewis Black.
Such a
Lewis
funny
Black.
movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lewis Black? Yes.
Lewis Black. Yep.
Like, just such a funny movie. Such a good, like, just an entertaining movie. I want to hear, was the idea of picking this movie, was it one of you over the other?
Yeah, it was Laura. I hadn't seen it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Laura, why'd you pick this one then?
It's such a classic. It's so good. This movie came out in 2006. That's when I graduated high school. So I think it's just very near and dear to my generation, or I guess our graduating year. And the themes were really impactful to us at that time.
Yeah. So for me, this one was like after the era, and now watching it this time, and Emily, I think we're in similar boats with our oldest kids, like right at this age. Totally different lens to this.
Yeah.
Plus, when it came out, I was not involved in the education world at all. So totally different lens to it this time. Yeah. How about you, Emily?
Yeah, I thought it was really, really fun. It was just silly and fun. The fact that it's based on a true story is intriguing to me. I was telling Laura,
really? I did not capture that
I think
at all.
it is. Because is the other movie, I thought it was a documentary, or am I wrong?
It is. Accepted the other movie is a documentary. It's about a charter school in Louisiana.
Okay.
This is, Emily and I were chatting about this. Okay. I don't think it's based on, from my research,
okay.
But I don't know.
It should be. I mean,
now,
if it hasn't been like recreated by some creative graduating high school seniors, it should happen.
It's their capstone project. They're like working on making college. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. All right. So where do we even start on this movie? Like what?
I
can start in a few different things. Go ahead, Laura. I want to hear like why.
Why we picked it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say similar to what you're saying is like when you first watched it and you weren't in the education world at all, and now watching it, it's just like, wow, just how much of it still hits in just a different way. I don't know why I was so connected to this movie, but even like revisiting it and some of the quotes that they say, even the idea that they're all rejected and this is where they end up, and that our research covers neurodiversity and sort of like capturing those students who are sort of like at the fringes. It's like, so, I don't know, meaningful that like some way it came back around for me that we've impacted them in some way. I don't know. It's hard to say.
I could not believe how relevant, and actually probably more relevant, this movie is than it was 20 years ago when it came out.
Yeah. It was like sort of the beginning of the tidal wave of sort of the disillusioned class of, do we really need college? What is that really for?
Yeah, what is it really about? Who is it for? Is it like the Lewis Black line of the serve us industry?
Yes.
Is this serving the adults or is it actually serving the students? And
Incredible.
I feel like in the last 20 years, there's been like a lot of change and a lot of just like sway in public opinion, maybe. Like, hey, are we getting scammed by the higher ed system here?
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely there. We're looking at my own kids where I'm like, I'm a big proponent of higher education and critical thinking, but when you just the economic equation it can be pretty wild where you're looking at 6-figure debt potentially for a degree that, but depending on what it is, might not set you up for any kind of job.
Yeah.
And that I feel like from when I went to college in the 90s, that has just, it's been on a trajectory, right, where college is just getting more and more expensive compared to the cost of living. Yeah,
I think when he's sitting down with his parents and he's trying to convince them that actually he's made a really good financial decision to not go to college because he's going to earn $80,000 instead of pay $80,000 because it's like $20,000 a year. It's like, where is he going that it's $20,000 a year? Like, that's how much I can't.
I had the same
Like,
thought.
what are you? That's affordable. That's a bargain. Like,
Yeah, I had the same thought.
and I tried to look up, like, you know, kind of what is the average now to kind of give a benchmark. But now there's so many kind of 2 years and like 2 years, 3 to 4 years.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can dig into that. So one, the fact that this happens in Ohio, which I have, like, I lived in Ohio
that's
for a long
right.
time. I went to college in Ohio.
That's so funny.
Seeing like the address of Wickliffe, Ohio, like I know exactly where that is, and you know Harmon is a made up institution.
Oh, okay. I was like, is that
and
real?
then the other one is obviously also made up of South
Yes.
Harmon. It is like genius. Like I really look at this. I'm like, it is genius the way they set it up. Of, you know, like he's kind of this type of kid anyway from the beginning. He's like
Yes.
trying to get like fake IDs, and he's got these skill sets, and he connects with a whole bunch of different groups of people. So it was just kind of like the natural extension of, yeah, like, okay, well, how do I solve this problem now?
Yeah.
If I didn't get into college, how, like, what's my workaround?
Yes. Yeah. And I think like the storytelling mechanism of like, it's his parents who are like, I want to meet the dean. And he's like, shoot, we're going to need a dean. Like, I'm going to go see it. And he's like, we're going to need a place to show
like,
them, right?
His parents
like,
are the only ones.
Right. And it's like escalating, right? Like
Yeah.
bit by bit. But it didn't occur to me on any other viewing, and I've seen this movie a lot, that his parents, who had just no engagement in his applications to college at all, didn't look at where anything. But now, suddenly, I'm going to need to see the dean. I'm going to need to dig in here. It's just that part was like, I mean, obviously, this is like it's sort of unhinged anyway. Like, it's as much escapism kind of movie. But I just thought that part was so much funnier to be like, oh, we don't even know where you applied.
Yeah, and his like 12-year-old sister is like the one he's scared of, you know.
Yeah, she was my favorite.
Oh,
there was that question of like, who steals the movie for you, and it was her. She
just
with
her
her. She
glare,
had like
really.
her little jacket on.
Oh yeah, her little blazer when she shows
little
up.
blazer, and she's doing the like eyes on you thing.
Did she order like a pina colada?
Oh yeah. Easy on the lime.
Yeah, and she wants a fake ID so she can vote.
Yes. Oh, so good. So good. Sweet got a shot.
That was awesome. Yeah. So I don't know how much you like knew any of these characters. Like Justin Long was someone that my wife and I like watched from do you remember there was a TV show called Ed?
Yes.
Where it was Tom Cavanaugh was the main character, and he was a lawyer who like bought a bowling alley and made his like law firm out of the bowling alley. And it was like just a total like kind of a quirky show, almost like this movie.
Yes.
And Justin Long was in there, and it was the first time I saw it. And then he went on to play like a whole bunch of, honestly, like the same exact character in like 5 other movies.
100%.
And so to me, this was like a total extension of his character when he was on that Ed show.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah. And then Jonah Hill, this was really early Jonah Hill. This was before Superbad, which we did a couple months ago. But it was interesting seeing him in almost like the opposite role of what he was in Superbad.
Yeah, there's something like extra charming about him being the one like, well, we're gonna go to prison, so I guess what I would like to learn is how to car shift. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's so perfectly delivered that I totally forgot that he spun that right around, like the opposite. It's the same personality, but opposite.
He played and then Blake Lively, this is kind of like her, I don't know, she's been in a few things, but this was probably the one that I remember her from most.
Yeah, I think she did, I'm sure you're familiar, but Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
I saw that was like her, I've never seen that movie. Like, I've heard the name of it, but yeah. Is it so good? All right.
Great. Not gonna lie.
Yeah.
America Ferrera's in it. I mean, it's great.
I just so miss this like era of movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People like think it was like in the 90s. Like, it has that really good like She's All That kind of vibe to it, you know, like or 10 Things I Hate About You. Like, it's just like instant classic, but you just like forget that it came out kind of not exactly during that era, you know.
Yeah. I just create I have so much nostalgia for this style of movie. It's like a quick, hour and a half movie.
Yes.
It's just funny. It's got some story, but it's ridiculous. Everyone knows it's ridiculous.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
And I just wish there were more movies like this.
Me too. And it's got such a good heart. Like I've watched this movie so many times, and I watched it again last night with my husband, and I teared up at the end at a speech. Again. I can tell you it, but I just, it's like, it's so right on, like, actually it doesn't matter because you can't change what was real for us and the way we're going to learn. Like, that just is, man, come on.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. All right, I always like talking about the IMDb rating.
Yeah.
The 6.4 out of 10.
Yeah.
Which is probably what I would have guessed.
Yeah.
It would be somewhere in the sixes. Usually, like, it's like a good movie if it's over 7.
Yes.
But I always like, yeah, I get it. Like, this is not like a
like sixes. Yeah.
Highbrow,
an Academy Award winning type of film.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah.
I
would probably put it right around there. Probably like
a comedy. It's hard to be higher than that.
Yeah. All right. Well, should we move into these award categories?
Yeah,
I think so.
All right. So the first one is our John Keating Award. This is, like the best educator. Who is the best educator in this movie? Honestly, there weren't a lot of like real educators.
No.
Yeah.
In here, but to me there was a clear winner. But I want to hear what you guys say here.
I think it was our protagonist Bartleby. I think he was the best educator in the entire movie.
Gaines.
Bartleby, I know.
I did look up the writers, the 3 of them. I don't know if you guys picked up on, like, it's Bartleby and Schrader, and there's are these like really, they're kind of like really mouthy names. And Bartleby is some sort of like, it's like in English literature, it's this particular character who generally thumbs his nose up at the establishment, and it's like they all of them kind of have this sort of like tie back to to stuff like that. And I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, it's like a couple of guys who like wrote it together, and I think they were probably very well read, right? Studied English, and then we're like, I'm gonna write this silly film script and nobody's gonna pick up on it, but we did,
All right, I love that.
Yeah.
Now that makes me think of all those other ones too, like when he's in the fraternity house and he's like, rattles off those more like.
Yes.
I don't even know what you word it better. What I don't know, like the more.
No. I'm like looking at their names on here, like, but it's, I mean, on IMDb, I also keep it open as like a cheat sheet, but it's like, it's almost like just sounds like certainly those can't be real, like Hoyt Ambrose.
Yeah, Hoyt.
And he even jokes about it. He's like Hoyt. What kind of does Hoyt have, right? Like, so funny.
Yeah.
Okay, who I think is the best educator? I'm gonna say everyone ties for equal self-education, because I think it's very self-driven. I think once they, if the whole point is like, what do you want to study, and they have to choose what they're passionate about, what to study, I think there's like something to be said. We didn't call it this back then, but like self-driven learning, like self-guided student learning.
Yeah, I mean, it is like at the end when they say the teachers stand up and all the kids stand up. Honestly, I love that answer, because to me, I was going probably more like the simplistic approach of saying that Lewis Black's.
Yeah.
But the whole point of like, no, like those are not the only educators out there. Like, you need somebody who's got like that formal title, and and the older person that I'm gonna teach you what it's about. But he was really good and entertaining.
He was.
That's good. Yeah,
he's got the School of Hard Knocks down, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they wrote these things, but I have a feeling that they just like were like, generally talk about this and let it rip. Yeah. I did.
Yeah, it would not surprise me if they're his like Lewis Black's like personal opinions of what he.
Yes, he's like, I know you wrote this, but no.
Yeah, and he did like when Bartleby was like, well, I'm going to ask these kids what experience they want. And he was like, a welcome to the conversation. Like, he was sort of about that as well. Like, he wasn't going to tell people what it was.
Yep. That was such a cool exchange in there too, of like, yes, thank you. Like, here we're all sitting here of like saying we're trying to design spaces for kids, and we're like, why don't we ask them? Why don't we get them part of this conversation?
Yes. Oh, that's such a good point. That's well said.
All right, so the cliques. There's a lot of stereotypes in here. Where do we want to start?
Let's start with frat guys.
So many frat guys. Yeah. And they kind of morph from like, because in the beginning they're in high school, right? And they're sort of like the jocks and the popular kids.
Yes.
And then in college they morph into, now they're the frat boys, and the girls are just kind of accessories. I don't know what they're doing, but
yeah, me either. She's just Blake Lively is just there to wear tank tops, and that's it.
Yeah.
That was obviously some of the most unrealistic things in there too. But on that whole thing, on the frat thing of like, they're incoming freshmen.
Yes.
And
Right.
immediately, like he's the like the leader of the frat is already dating
Yeah.
Monica, who just graduated high school like 2
Yes.
weeks earlier. And I'm like, no, like,
And he picked her up from school, so were they dating ahead of that?
I felt
Yeah.
like they were dating in the beginning of the movie.
Right?
Yeah.
oh, maybe I missed that they were
But-
dating.
But I thought he
was
was
the
in
other
high
guy
school.
a freshman? Or
Yeah,
was
when that scene is happening, I also thought he was in high school, but
Yeah.
suddenly he's president of the
Right.
curriculars at
yeah,
or I
and
guess,
sitting in one-on-one
dean.
meetings with the president of
The
the
dean,
university.
yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but one of the best parts about being a student at college is that your dean talks with you directly about land acquisition. So that's really great. It's really that's the perfect person to have in the room. So
That's
that's
right. That's his go-to person. I
Go
need to
guy,
acquire
you know?
all of this land around the campus.
yes.
I appreciated the rotating model. Did you
Oh, that was
appreciate
very
that?
cool. I feel like we learned a lot.
Yes.
Yes.
Like we could
We
incorporate
could do that.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, I would
Crank
love
and
that.
just-
I think you guys should do that. I would just so love to see that presentation. So yeah, so a lot of clicks, and then obviously like all the kids that are at South
Yeah.
Harmon are the outcasts.
Yep.
Yes.
These are the ones that didn't fit into like,
Yep.
any of the other molds. Yeah.
The
Yeah.
cookie-
Yes.
All right, class clown. Like, was there someone who steals the show? Honestly, like I had a hard time on this one.
I know. I don't know. Everybody's funny.
You
Yeah.
think the sister? And I'm trying to remember what her sister's name was.
Lizzie?
Oh, I
Yeah,
think it is
Lizzie. Yep.
Lizzie?
Yeah, Lizzie.
I thought she was really, really funny. Of course, Jonah Hill was
Yeah.
Yeah.
some really great funny lines.
I think my winner in this was Glenn.
Yeah.
The guy
He's-
who was like coming up with all like the different food concoctions
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
He could have had a culinary arts degree for sure. I'm going to try to say a different answer because I think everybody's answering really good ones. I'm going to say Rory because I
Yeah.
think the first scene where they're at the graduation party and she's on just like having a little light mental breakdown about not getting into Yale. And she's like, no room for Rory. Like, I guess like referring to yourself in the third person is already like, wow, should we take a break? Like, and I just adore her. And I think her like kind of arc of like calming down and like starting to foster that in other people. I just think that was like, she was so funny, but like really redeemed and like kind of came into her own at the end. I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. I liked Rory a lot
Mhm.
in there because it was like that evolution of like that like type A person who
Yes.
like worked really
Yes.
hard and like you told me like if I get good grades, if I follow
Yeah.
the rules, I do all
Yes.
these things, and and then her disappointment, of
Mhm.
not getting in where she wanted to.
And not to be too meta about it, but had she ended up at Yale, that trajectory just would have continued for her, right? And so
Yeah.
we kind of love the idea that she was sort of forced to take a step back.
Yeah. Well, doesn't everybody at some point hit
Yes.
a point where it's not turning out the way you thought it would?
Mhm.
And what do you do? How do you react? How
Mhm.
do you shift?
Yeah. Well, to go, I mean, a little. So I don't know your personal feelings of where you're at on higher ed right now. Mine's evolved over the years. Like I am somebody who's gone through it. Like I've gone through, undergrad, graduate
Mhm.
programs, and I can say like, like it served me well. Like I'm glad I did that. But I've been joking around for a long time of like, I'm not saving anything for my kids, so they're not going to college.
Yeah.
And
College as an institution won't exist by then, so don't worry.
yeah, I'll be like, they're I've just been joking. I'm like, oh, they're not going to college. And for the longest time, like I totally am like, I've seen a lot of people around me be very successful
Yeah.
without going to college. Like,
Yeah.
it was not like the requirement like it was kind of, or the expectation, I feel like, from my generation, especially like where I grew up. I went to a high school where it was like 99.9% of the kids went to college.
Same.
But it started kind of as a joke, and then I got like really serious about it. I'm like, no, I actually think if you remove college out of the situation of like, that's the goal for kids,
Mm-hmm.
the entire K-12 experience changes.
Yeah. That's
and
the
Rory's a perfect example
exactly
of that. And so I don't know if I've like just kind of faked myself into believing this, but
I don't think so. Emily, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this because I know that you guys in your house are thinking about this too.
Yes. So similar to you, Kevin, my oldest, we just graduated from high school. She is not going to be attending a 4-year college in the fall. There's a lot of reasons for that. She's autistic. She's got ADHD. She's a smart kid. Some of the executive function stuff is a challenge for her. And she kind of doesn't have any desire to go study in an undergraduate environment. So that has been something that like I've had to wrap my head around, right? That she's not going to do the path that I did. But I've been talking to my husband about this. Like, we just live in a really different time than when we graduated. Like, she got a good high school education. She can think, she can write. She's got a basis in math. And there are so many ways to educate yourself that we have such easy access to. And so I'm looking at that, like, there's a lot of directions she could go in if she really got into something. And then there's also a lot more, I think, varied opportunities for training, just post-secondary training. And it's not necessarily going to be a 4-year degree or an associate's degree, like a liberal arts degree. So, and the economics also is just what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah. We have some real talk here. My oldest is going into being a senior, and the conversation, like, I see it, like, and I talk to him all the time. I'm like, how much do people ask you about, like, what's your plan for next year?
Yeah.
And how are they phrasing it for you? And I think also recognizing that I think there's a lot of, to your point of like, our generation was different, of like, that was kind of the expectation of what success looks like. And now I do feel like there's a decent population that's not saying like, no, that's not, like, that's not the only path to a successful life. How much like parental, and like I talk to my wife about it all the time. I'm like, are you okay with this? Because I am very vocal that I don't care if my kids go to school, and I actually push it further. Like, I'm literally okay if my kids drop out of school right now. I don't want their education to stop.
Right.
But
yes.
But how much like pride, or how much of the reflection of
yes
as a
right
parent?
Because we live in the Washington D.C. area, and like the school district we go to is so academically oriented, and so many of the kids are on that like achievement train, and it's how everybody is judging everybody else. And it's like you gotta take a step back from that and just be like, that may not really be the reality. It's the reality in everybody's head, but is it really the reality of people's lives are getting determined by what college they're getting into at 18?
Especially, it's so much more competitive now. It used to be sort of, gosh, I don't know, maybe I'm not sure if I'm interested. Like, my husband went to Georgia Tech. He tells this story all the time. He went to Georgia Tech. He was living in Georgia at the time. It's an incredible school. Just really, my best friend in Houston worked for years to get into Georgia Tech. Michael applied the day before and got in. And it's the only place he applied. And it was like,
button on the website,
literally,
like,
they're like, he's like, hi, my name is Michael Smyles, and like, you're hired. Like, there was, like, it was, even his experience of that, and my experience similarly, I studied at LSU. It was like, it was not incredibly difficult to get into, and we had tuition sort of support. He went to Georgia, and I went to LSU, and Louisiana, and those are both states that have sort of like support for higher education. I can't imagine if I went to school like somewhere even in Virginia, or that the cost would have been so high, and to not be engaged. Those two things are just so separated from me. And Michael is also one of 5. He's the eldest. So we've watched this iteration of the younger kids, of one just never went to college, never pursued any of that. One did go to college and eventually did graduate, has no interest in his degree. It was like a total pain to get through it, and now is a stay-at-home dad with a thriving garden. He's just thriving. The 4th one ended up with a very, very expensive degree he does not use, and it just really kind of just destroyed him to even pursue. And then one tried college on and off and is now pursuing firefighting. And these are like the definition of high achieving kids, and that higher education path still didn't work for them. It's like I've now watched like different permutations of it happening, and it's like, okay, the data is not dataing for me. Maybe we need to rethink this whole thing if this isn't working at all.
Yeah. And Laura, I can't remember, do you have kids?
I do. I have 3.
How old are your kids?
6, 4, and 1.
Okay, so you're on the earlier spectrum here of where, as mine are 17, 13, and 9. And I feel like there was a lot of focus on like what their elementary education looked like.
Yeah. Yeah,
Is that
it's
is there
intense.
still like that type of pressure of like,
I wouldn't call it pressure. I think it's one, we live in a community. We live in a great school district, but our particular community is kind of small. So we know them. It's like very easy to engage with them and be really honest with them. He just started kindergarten, so we've just got 1 year under our belt of public education. But I think we have such a benefit of one, like we both work in K-12. We talk to teachers a lot. We're really immersed in this area. So our language is really similar. Like when we talk to his teachers or to even to other parents, what we're talking about is like how to help him learn, not what he is learning. And that is even a different conversation than we would have been having 15 years ago. The best parents among us, that's what we thought you were supposed to be talking about, right? And so I think there's that. I also think like so much parent interaction now with education is data driven. Like it's not just like what school did you get into, it's just like what's the reading curriculum that you're employing now, because I've read that actually that doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like we're so much more informed than we would have been, years ago, just because there's more information there and it's being shared more broadly. So I think there's a higher level of engagement, but maybe less pressure. I don't know if he's
that's
only in
interesting.
kindergarten, he was only in kindergarten, but now in first grade, but he also loves school. He's Mr. Kindergarten. He loves school. School's like the best. He is like, just like, oh my gosh, my friends are there and I learned this thing and I'm going to count. And like, he just is like thrilled to death with it. Whereas like my daughter, my second born, could not be more interested, less interested. She's like, I want to stay home. I hate it. And it's like, well, it's preschool, so it's fine. You're literally fine. Go to preschool.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, it's boring there. It's like, it's water day. They're going to let you play out in the water today. Like, what do you mean it's boring?
Yeah. Well, all right. I got sidetracked, but I'm
Yeah, sorry.
fascinated by this discussion because I feel like, we weren't. I would just say my wife and I were not having these discussions with other parents
No.
at that age. So it was
Yes.
a little bit of like we're just following the path. Like the path to success is similar to what our path to success was.
Yeah.
And and I don't want to say like we did anything wrong, but if I would have known what I known,
Yes.
I would have. I mean, exactly to your point. Like, sold a story, that podcast
Yes.
series that talked about dyslexia. Like, our oldest got into fourth grade, and was getting and we had to take him out and dyslexia. But I really don't know if he's dyslexic or not.
Who
He may have
knows?
just been through the wrong reading program.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The I guess it's like the involvement has shifted sort of from baked goods for PTA to being like, hi, actually, I was thinking I could sponsor a STEM activity for you. Like, it's so different. Like,
Yes.
it's like the scope and scale of sort of like how we're participating is really interesting. And I know like we're like kind of coming off of helicopter parenting and all of that, and like anxious generation has like, I guess, like sort of become sort of the zeitgeist of like, let's let them be them. So I feel like we're fortunate to be entering in at the right time. You know what I mean? Like, I'm interested to see how it goes.
so again, Emily, like we were the guinea pigs.
Literally. And you guys you did great.
Like,
We did.
we had a parent be the first wave of parents that parented through like the screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Generation.
Yeah. My husband and I were just talking about how it's shifting now, right? Where people are saying this really isn't good for young brains. It's not good for older brains either, but it's really not good for young brains.
But we didn't know that. Y'all didn't know that.
I mean, it was like, there was this thing like your kid needs to learn technology. They need to know how to use technology. Give them an iPad. Well, they're going to figure that out in 3 seconds. They don't need practice on an iPad.
Yeah.
But there was this feeling like technology is good. Of course it's good.
How many computers do you have?
Yeah.
That's
how many computers do you have?
Yes.
And I kind of am wondering how far is it going to shift in the other direction?
I think about it 15 years ago. That was the big discussion when I got in the industry was we are a 1-to-1, like the school district. We are a 1-to-1 district of, and now they're like, you have to leave your phones in your lockers. You're not allowed to have it. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And my 16-year-old my 16-year-old told me about one of her favorite teachers who makes them do work with pencil and paper.
Yeah.
Because she's got ADHD. She finds it so much less distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Because you got a laptop in front of you. And you're not supposed to be looking at other stuff.
Yes.
Besides what you're working on. It's right
there. Yes.
And you can do a deep dive on your favorite tropical island instead of whatever history you're supposed to be studying. Yeah,
exactly. But I was just thinking.
Well, all right. I love the sidetrack conversation. I'm going to come back. All right. The homecoming scene. Best homecoming scene. What's like the iconic scene of this movie?
I felt like it was the
Is it the
party
end?
scene.
Is it the party or the
I
end?
felt like it kind of was like this combination of like the prom and like you had a raging party when your parents weren't home
Yeah.
and everything kind of got out of control. Like
Yeah.
they did a mashup of those two iconic
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when he
scenes.
walks out and pulls the fire alarm and yeah.
It just took it to the next level.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of think the courtroom scene
Yeah.
is kind of, I don't know, there's the idea that they're having this public hearing and they've said, well, there's too many people, we should get a bigger courtroom. Like there's just, it's like, so there's something
They have
like
that
all the
space
tropes
ready
in
to
it.
go for
It's
like
all ready to go.
once
Yeah.
every 10 years that a school is trying to get
Exactly. Exactly. And they all have the gavels. They're
Take out
ready
the
to
gavel.
go.
That was like,
Yeah.
yes.
There's, and like, I don't know, there's something, all the tropes are there, right? Like, and all the people, and it's kind of all happening in one place, whereas like they've all sort of happened separately during the movie, but there's something about them sort of like as characters articulating it, like saying like, I'm interested in this, and you know, we're the teacher, like, you know, there's something about them making the choice to advocate for that on behalf of themselves that like I feel like is everything coming back around. Like that's what it's all about, right? Like not being able to like just know what you're interested in, but being able to advocate for yourself. I thought was like very cool.
Yep. Very cool. All right. One liner.
Don't go for the obvious one. Don't go for the obvious one.
What's the obvious one?
When he's in the costume.
What's that?
When he's in the costume.
In the
He
hot
actually
dog
adds that
costume,
line. That was
yeah.
not written. He wrote that himself. Okay.
I liked starting a fake college as a gateway crime.
Oh God, that was so funny. That's a gateway crime.
It's a gateway crime. It's just going to get you to the next crime.
That's so funny. Oh God. Oh, it cracks me up.
That's gonna be
yeah.
tough to beat.
I know. Okay, what do you got?
All right, mine was like totally random in here, but again, going back to that Glenn character, and he talks about it's an explosion of flavor. I'm working with some very unstable herbs, but the way he says herbs is like he like stretches that word out. I don't think that's the winner, but that line just cracked.
It's a really good one. It's a memorable one, I think. I have like similar, like this sort of like offshoots. Like there's one point where the family's back at the dinner table. They found out it's a fake college and it's closed down. And she's like, I'm going to go check on the cobbler. And Justin Lin goes, yeah, go check on the cobbler. Glug, 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 glug. That's hilarious. It's hilarious to me. And he's full of those. Like when he's like in the frat house and he's like, oh my God, I support your lifestyle choice though. Like it's so funny. But the one I'd never noticed until I watched it again last night. He invites Sherman to campus, and this is when they find out that like all these people are here and they've paid all this tuition because the clickable button was clickable. And he goes, do you remember that time we had to steal my mom's birth control pills? And he's like, yeah. And then Lizzie was born. He's like, yeah, it's worse than that. I never noticed that upon first viewing. And in my mind, I was always like, that's so weird that they're so far apart in age. So, like, it's like, did they write that in, or did they cast her because they were like, we love her, we don't care how old she is, like let's bring her in? I just thought that was the funniest thing.
Yeah. Oh, there are a lot in there.
There's so many.
There's so many in there.
Also, this is a funny story. And you know when they're like they first get to the abandoned building and they're standing in there and he screams and he's like, I really appreciate you don't tell people how to scream like that. That was not in the script either, but that's Rory screaming, and they had discussed on their own without telling anybody that he was gonna scream, she was gonna scream, and he was gonna just mime it and just be silly. And that's what it is. It's actually her screaming and him going, ah. And they had to cut afterwards because everybody was like, what is that? And they kept it in. He was like, I never thought they kept it in. I would never. They were just like us being silly, but they kept it in. Isn't that so funny?
Yeah, that was good. All right, I'm going to tie another one in that it's not the best line in there, but they reference Battle Royale in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'd never picked this up on it, and I know what Battle Royale was, but
I don't know what it is.
All right, so we had somebody pick this movie that we reviewed, and they
reviewed Battle Royale?
Battle Royale, and I'd never watched it before, and I watched it, and I'm like, and it's a movie where they just drop all these kids on an island, and they kill each other, and
Literally.
The last one to survive wins the Battle Royale. And I didn't know anything about it, and then they joked around of like, we should have a Battle Royale.
Yeah, and they're like, no.
Yeah. So. Which I've learned too is like almost like that game Fortnite. Like it starts out with Battle Royale. Like that's the whole that's the premise of it. So stuff I just didn't pick up on
Me either.
Like, the last year of my life here. So. So, all right, I mean, great, just great one-liners
Yeah.
in this movie. All right, realistic or ridiculous. This whole category. I mean, basically, we can just say this is the whole movie.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of ridiculous, but also at the same time super realistic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just the idea of like how much college is, like the whole idea of what college is and what it's become. And to me, like that, like I couldn't believe how much like realism there is, and like how much I feel like we're seeing this right now of
Yeah.
what are we doing, like this awakening of society of like what are we doing, like why it, yeah.
There's this part that again, like I guess I remembered it, but it didn't hit in the same way. But the first guy who shows up at the door and he's banging on the door and he's like, "My name's Abernethy, and I have ADD," and right. And then they're in the big auditorium later, and he's like, "Oh, do you have any questions?" Or he's like, he won't stop asking his question. He's like, "When I got accepted here, it's the first time my parents ever said they were proud of me." There's a lot of realism.
Right.
That's somebody wrote that because they felt that, like that was very touching. I feel like,
yeah, that whole scene of just how every
yes.
kid, who else has been rejected, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is a very weird. Are you either of you familiar or follow Malcolm Gladwell?
Yeah.
I don't.
Okay, so he's an author, but he also has a podcast. But he's written a bunch of books like The Tipping Point, Dave and Goliath, a
Outliers.
lot of things that are just
Oh,
like
okay.
looking at like
I've heard
the
of
counter
outliers.
Mm-hmm.
outliers. Yep, a lot of just like he tries to look at it from a different perspective, and he
Mm-hmm.
is also very much, and he grew up in Canada, and he's basically bashes the U.S. higher education system.
Yeah.
He's like, in Canada, we are not rejecting people. Like
Mm-hmm.
if there are more students, we add more students and we add more
Yeah.
staff and we add more facilities to do that. But the whole American system of like rejecting people and
Mm-hmm.
trying to make, certain ones exclusive. And he's got tons of stories and data that supports that, like kind of that point too of like with Rory, like if you look at kids that go to Harvard or like an Ivy League, and he's done a story where he actually looks at Harvard, and when they go into Harvard, they are very much like the smartest, like science people, like science and math is their strength when they go to
Yeah.
Harvard. And then they get to Harvard and they realize they're not the smartest ones anymore.
Yeah.
And he looks at the data of how many of them now switch their major typically to like law or political science, where if they would have gone to a smaller school, they would have stayed in
Oh.
the math and sciences.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually
Oh.
like our whole system is actually like weeding out like the most talented people because of the way we're doing this.
Oh.
And he looked at data of like published papers, and it showed, like the top graduates at smaller schools get a lot more success
Mm-hmm.
than kind of the lower tier out of like a Harvard or another one.
Yeah, it's
Which I didn't do a
interesting.
great one. I should probably link to that episode because it was a really good podcast episode.
I would like to.
Yeah, I would love to hear
Yeah,
that.
I think it's interesting because I feel like it's so hard for those kids because that's their identity.
Yeah.
Right. And because that's what it is to be a success, is to be the best. And when they don't have that identity, that's what is crushing. And then they can't handle it. Whereas if it's just doesn't have to be who you are as a human being, that you're this incredible achiever, it opens up, I feel like, just a lot more opportunities and avenues in life.
Yep. So
I went to two different high schools. I went to one in Louisiana where like there weren't that many kind of avenues for success. You were either like good at sports or you were good at like math or science or English. And then I went to school in Houston. It was a huge school, very well resourced, like and like thriving theater program, thriving orchestra program, like just so many kind of opportunities. And I used to sort of think before I moved, I really wanted to get out. Like I really was a city girl. I just needed to get out, and that's true. That's accurate. But I used to think, oh, if there were more opportunities, then it would be like more of a chance to sort of really find your niche and like find what works for you, and then there'd be like more individualism. But like what it actually did is like force kids to like do all of it, not even choose one thing, and then they don't even do anything well. They don't even know what their real passion is because they're sort of forced to compete with each other to try to get a couple of spots. You know what I mean? It's very interesting. I don't like, and I'm looking back on that, that's how I can see it now, but it didn't feel like that at the time.
yeah. Yeah. Should I move on to the next one?
Yeah.
All right. The iPhone effect.
Ooh.
So, I mean, this is a perfect movie to do this because iPhone came out
Yes.
2007. So I know
Yes.
the iPhone is a little bit of like, you know, like we're talking more just like technology and different things
Yeah.
that would have changed if this movie would have been made, you know, today versus, you know, when the area was made. But it actually aligns with the iPhone perfectly.
Mhm.
No social media, right? Like
Yeah.
Facebook wasn't really a thing here when this movie was made. It was probably like just starting,
Just starting.
but
Yeah.
it probably still went to, I mean, maybe MySpace. I don't know, Laura. I mean, this is your like
I know.
exact,
Yeah.
like
We
almost
we
your
had
exact was
Facebook.
social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
You were
We had
doing social media when you graduated?
Yeah, we had
Something.
Facebook. It was like only for college when I was a junior.
Okay.
And then by the time I was in high school, they had opened it up to you didn't have to have a .edu anymore. And
Okay.
like sorry, in my senior year. So in 2006, like in I guess like that spring or something. And but I do remember there was so much MySpace. Like just MySpace on MySpace.
MySpace all over the place.
Oh yeah. It's how we all learned to code. We're really lucky. Just had to you wanted your background to be green. Well, I guess you should find out how to code with HTML to make it green.
So, all right. So, hypothetically, if this movie was made right now, what would change?
I think it would all be online schooling. I think they wouldn't need a place to be. I think they could AI generate like all of that.
That's
And be like,
interesting.
look, we're at school. Like,
That's true.
Yeah.
My thought is that there would be no secrets. Like the fact that the school wasn't really a school would
That's
be
a good
like
point.
immediately apparent.
Yes. Yeah, even when he says to his dad, he's like, I mean, South Harmon, I mean, only one of the most respected, in
Yeah.
his town. Like,
Right.
that he's never heard of. Like, yeah, so funny.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually think this is more realistic. Like, I'm actually surprised this has not happened.
Mm-hmm.
Like with an
Yeah.
online school, you could really
Yeah,
see
like
it.
an
Yes.
but I mean, again, I've been down this kind of thought path for a long time of like
Mhm.
what like if it's not college, like what are those other avenues of success?
Mm,
And I just keep coming back to is that I think the majority of 18-year-olds just want to be around kids their age.
yeah.
And college is almost like the only opportunity to do it. So a lot of times like, well, I'll go to college, but they don't really have interest in going to college. They just want to be around kids their own age.
Yeah. They want to be out of the house and with their friends. Yeah.
And I can see like honestly something like this, but probably I think the difference right now is I think we would have the parental support
Mm-hmm.
of almost just like an apartment building or like, you know, like a mixed use retail area
Yes.
where it's just geared more for kids 18 to 22.
Yeah. It's like senior
They're
living, but like for young adults.
exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like
Yeah.
senior living, but
Yeah. There's a kickball team. There's a pickleball league. Yeah.
you got
100%.
social stuff. People are taking
Yes.
online classes. Maybe that, you know, like maybe you do, you know, maybe there are a couple classrooms or something there, but for the most part, everyone's kind of doing their own like educational path, but they're
Yeah.
living and like living life with people their
Guys.
age. So you got, you know, you have your food, you have a rec center, you have, you know, you had a gym. And I feel like it's a little bit of like what, you know, like we're seeing of like kind of that mid 20s. Like there's a lot
Mm-hmm.
of those popping up in most metro areas
Mm-hmm.
because that's what they want. They just want to
That's
be around people.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just
And
hanging out.
they want that. I feel like they want that half step. That's like you're not out and 100% on your own and have to figure
Yeah.
everything out. You still have like some structure. You have some food.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know.
That's food right there.
Yeah. But you're not living with your parents anymore. They're not keeping track of what you're doing.
Yeah. Guys, I
I
think we
think
might
that's
have
an
solved
awesome
higher
idea.
ed. This
I
is
know
great.
the business person side of me is like, why hasn't this happened yet?
Mhm.
Like, because I
Yes.
really think you could actually make the case too to the parents too of like, hey, you could even go and spend like Arizona's not expensive as like Virginia and
Mm-hmm.
you know like East Coast, but be like, hey, instead of spending 25 or you know whatever it is you're going to pay, you know, in that year of tuition, it's going to be half the cost. You live here and they
Mhm.
have this and they take online classes and you know, but they're a lot of them may be working like whatever
Yeah.
it is, like
Co-op
whatever
program.
they're
Yeah.
doing, they're just instead of putting it to the college tuition, you're just putting it towards like their living expenses and
Mhm.
like those
Yeah.
years of just when that human brain still needs to develop.
I think you just talking about that makes me feel like, to answer your question, if this were real today, I think parents would be climbing all over themselves to give them money to be like, yeah, my kid gets to do self-guided learning. They decide what their degree is in. You know what I mean? Like, I think there is such a trend right now, and for that parents get it and want to give their students that opportunity. And I'll be honest, I don't know if their heart is in the right place. I think it's still very protective. Like, my baby is not ready for that. My baby really, especially, you wouldn't really understand, but they want to study their own thing. I don't know if it would be like kind of, I don't know if it's super genuine, but I do think that parents would be really interested to have, they get graded on their own merits, not any particular curriculum.
Yeah. All right. The Substitute. Would you recast any of these main characters with someone else?
I struggled with this one. I couldn't think of anybody.
I thought they were like so perfect.
Yeah,
I
I
agree.
think of really.
Yeah.
No, I did read that Topher Grace was up for Justin Long's gig.
Okay.
And he's like one of the only other people who could like be as charming and, but
Yeah.
not as funny, not as slick, I think, as Justin Long is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's always getting away with something. He's like telling stories about like he got his bully kicked out for sexual harassment because he pushed him up against a wall in the beginning of the movie. And he's like, who else could do that? I'm incredible.
It was such a weird mix of like geeky and cool and like, like just constantly like bumping his head into things and like accent, like, yeah, like I feel like it was like the perfect fit for this.
Yes.
To do that.
Yes, I agree. It's so funny.
So I didn't come up with anyone for Substitute. All right. So Hags, have a great summer. If you're going to have like final comments or write something like in the yearbook or lasting effect, anything stand out to you of like, how would you summarize this? What would be the thing that, here we are sitting here 20 years later, like what's that lasting effect?
I feel like it's maybe the power of harnessing people's interests and, how much motivating that is and how much people can really take that when they're not being told what to do.
Yeah. I would agree. I think aligning investment with student interest, like even when like he buys all this kitchen equipment for Glenn because he's, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, yeah, I have all this money and I'm just great. So let's put money towards that, or let's put money towards that. I think it's such a simple concept of how it should really work, right? Less interested in sort of the university and their interest and more about kind of aligning, investment directly with what that student is interested in, I think was very cool.
I think mine's like in similar tone to that of like, to me, it's the wall, like where you write out, what do you want to learn? And just like the whole idea of like, nobody's ever asked me that before.
Yes.
So to me, it was just, like I just think of that wall and I'm like that's the heart of what I felt like this movie was about.
I think when you post the podcast, that should be like the thumbnail. It's like just that. Yeah. Like, yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah. All right. So where are they now? 20 years later. Let's look at the main character. Where is Bartleby Gaines? What's he doing?
I think he's running something.
Me too.
He's in charge. He's like a CEO, or he's running this college that he started, or he started a tech company or something.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think, or he might have sold off that tech company and he has like multiple passive income streams.
And he's living his best life. He's
living his best life. Yes. And then like, it, kind of can do whatever interests him kind of thing. Yeah.
It's got to be, right? Like, all right, so again, this is a little bit of like my business mind putting to this. We like at K-12, we follow a system called EOS. Okay. It's like a structure for like how a business runs, and we're actually like working on some of this kind of side story here. We're trying to, and we're in the process of working with school leaders and taking a similar approach of like best practices and tools of how like a school system should run, but the system that we use is called EOS. And one of the big things about it is they're just like basic tools of like how an organization runs. And there's typically like two people at the top of like a successful organization. There's usually like the idea person, and then there's another person, and they call it the visionary in EOS, and then integrator. And the integrator is usually the one who gets the work done.
Okay.
And this was like, and then you kind of go through like the chart of like making like this whole idea of finding the right people to do certain things, and that's how
Yes.
organizations run really well. And this was like such a great example of, you got Bartleby, who's this visionary guy,
Yes.
and then you got Sherman, who's this like integrator guy of like, all right, I'll figure out a way to make it happen. I'll be the one that's going to send a letter. I'll be the one that's going to like go set up a bank account. And then just like how easily Bartleby like picks other people and gives them the accountability to be like, all right, you're in charge of housing. You're in charge of food services.
In like one scene. It's like one scene. Oh,
like,
that must have been so cool for you.
This is like business 101 of how organizations run. And so I 100% agree. He is running something, and if he has that team, they're doing whatever they are like. Yeah, they are running businesses or.
That's so cool.
Man, I got a lot of sidetracks in this episode. I'm sorry.
It's so much good things to talk about. It's like
all right, last one. Okay. Battle of the Bands, the best music of the movie.
For me, it was the Blitzkrieg bop, the Hey Ho, Let's
Go.
Yeah, from the dance. Yeah,
like his Ferris Bueller moment.
Yeah.
It totally was his Ferris Bueller.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you, but I just really love that there is a Green Day song in there.
I think that's the one for me. It's like that totally is of its time, of its place, and the like sort of like, you know what I mean? Like it hits the vibe perfectly, I think.
Yeah, awesome. Anything we missed? Did you have anything else on? I kind of skipped ahead on like, where are they now? Did anyone have any other characters that they wanted to?
Well, yeah, I was thinking about Schrader and what he's doing, and I was thinking he's a dad. He's got some dad energy.
Me too.
Yeah.
He's taking care of him. Yeah.
What do you think Rory's doing?
I hope Rory is running her own wellness retreat.
Yeah.
Where she brings in chronically overachieving young women, and she teaches them to just, find your center, create some boundary.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, all right. Well, this was a fun one. Tell me, real world, what's going on? What have you guys been working on?
Well, we're over here working on our projects, and we're trying to, educate our clients about neurodiversity and designing spaces for all the types of brains. And that's my passion. I know that's Laura's passion, and we keep trying to infuse that in what we do.
Yeah. Well said, Emily. I completely agree.
All right. Love it. Awesome. Well, thanks for doing this. It's always, I feel like we have a lot of fun when we do
That's fun.
You'll have to think of what the next movie is going to be next time we talk.
Yeah, I was like looking through the list, and I was like scanning down, and it just like, boom. I was like, that's the one. I emailed Emily, and I was like, please, can we do this one? She was like, I've never seen it. I'm like, please, I'm never going to ask you for anything else. Please,
Awesome. Well, for the listeners, if you enjoy these, please hit subscribe wherever you're watching, listening this on there, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever it is. And betterlearningpodcast.com is our hub. So if you have ideas that you want to put out there, or suggestions, we do really take those to heart. So we appreciate everyone that goes through and fills out that form, because that's really typically how we are picking what the movies and the topics, and building our recording schedule around that. So awesome. Laura, Emily, thank you so much.
Thanks, Kevin.
The Better Learning Podcast is produced by Matt Rogers and edited by Kelly Jones. The views and opinions shared on this podcast are those of the individual speaking and do not necessarily represent the perspectives of their affiliated companies, organizations, or associations.